Folks, the ebbs and flows of the cardboard world can be very intimidating, can be very difficult to navigate. Tend to wipe things out. I lowered the resolution from 4K to like normal because people were like, Rudy, I can see the things moving on your face. So I was like, all right, I think the resolution was too much. Today we reflect on the 2023 state of the market. I want to tell you all what happened with the launch of the MetaZoo Native. I ran a Weiss sale with this is one of the new sets. That was a disaster. And then, of course, the continuing uptick in Pokemon that never seems to end. And, of course, the flesh and blood bull market that's just getting out of control with expansion player base. And money is just dumping into flesh and blood at insane rates of speed. So we've got a lot of things to discuss in today's video, folks. Sit back, relax, get yourself a nice taco, pretend I'm sitting next to you, and let's just have a good conversation. So we are, where are we at? We are April, mid-April? So we're April 2023. Where are we at here? So we got old MJ holdings. We got some different old Force of Will. We got some Pokemon around here. Oh, here's a good one for you guys. Here's a good way to start today's video. This was off to the side. This was one of my, this is a Flesh and Blood WTR Alpha case that hasn't been moved to my Flesh and Blood area. I think this was one of the replacement cases I received back in 2019 because the original pallets of Flesh and Blood, when they were shipped, they were really rough. Like a lot of the Alpha WTR, I'd probably say maybe like 10 to 15 cases per pallet were damaged. And then we had to get some replacements. I don't mean like there's a little mark. No. I mean like forklift through it. They were stacked too high. The bottom row completely like caved in. And now in 2023, I sold one case of WTR Alpha about 8 or 9 days ago. $38,500 for a sealed case of WTR Alpha. You know, and that's the moment that you're going to see reactions of two kinds of people. You're going to see the ones that say, there it is, the two investors going back and forth, playing ping pong with tether balls. And then you're going to get the other people saying, well, FOMO, you know. So essentially this is, well, I guess we'll start with Flesh and Blood now. So it's usually a big turning point when a newer card game, less than 5 years old, survives the bear market crash. Usually in booming times, 2020, 2021, you get a lot of new things come to market, new opportunities, new games, there's a lot of money sloshing around. There's a lot of euphoria. 2022's, 15, 18 month bear market usually flushes the system. Unfortunately, I heard a lot of these Kickstarter CCGs are starting to collapse and go bankrupt and shut down now. I know a couple of them. I don't know if I should name names. Then I found out a week ago or a couple days ago, but right before I filmed this video, that some patrons and some other YouTubers sent me a message, hey, Rudy, I just heard that the Genesis card game abruptly is not doing new sets or reprints. And I said, I thought that one was kind of steady as she goes. That's kind of a surprise. And then I know there was a lot of these new Kickstarter things that are just, I know there was that new Kickstarter CCG. What was it, 6 or 9 months ago in the crash of everything? Didn't one of them, that's the guy, the head guy of this new card game, was caught at the airport or something? Somebody told me like the guy tried to fake his own death and take off with the Kickstarter money. I heard all this weird stuff. I don't know what's true or what's not. I don't really care that much because when we go through bear markets and market crashes, which is what we went through with stocks, bonds, crypto, real estate's dropped, CCGs, when you have that kind of across-the-board vacuum, usually the new guys don't have the financial strength and the long-term proof that they can make it. So they usually don't make it through that vacuum because they don't have enough, proof behind them from years of success to survive it. So there's been a massive amounts of chatter. The number one patron message I get right now is probably Flesh and Blood related. Number 2 is Pokemon and MetaZoo, and then Magic is probably number 3 with Weiss, which we'll get to Weiss in a second here. But essentially, now that the bear market has come to an end and Flesh and Blood seems to be leading the pack, shifting market consensus. We're seeing a major uptick. I would say solid double-digit, 10+% player growth, player base expansion. We're seeing prices of all the original WTR crew, the first block of Flesh and Blood, is just getting buckets of money dumped on it. And the cold foils, the original, the original pink stripe, the red pitch, the original pink, rainbow foils from the first set. I mean, the prices are just unbelievable. Like, I never thought I'd see another bull market in Flesh and Blood that would be as intense as the one from October of 2020 during Crucible of War, when Flesh and Blood really just spread like wildfire. Usually every new card game gets one, and then usually they just spend years afterwards stabilizing, and many of them just slowly go to zero. Well, Flesh and Blood has now proven that not only does it survive the downturn bear market crash, but it's actually recovering and going stronger, and now we have many products hitting all-time highs, higher than the previous highs before the market went through a bear market, which is quite astonishing. I knew Flesh and Blood would make it. I knew eventually the bear market would end. We've been talking about this for 6 to 12 months on this channel since the cruel summer last year. But I didn't think when we turned that corner, I didn't think we would just run. I usually, it happens in the stock market sometimes when you have these major crashes. The rubber band theory. We talked about this over the years. Usually a major crash where prices get too low and then they swing back. Many times people call that a dead cat bounce, a bear market rally, and we have a hard move, but then it levels out. But this is weird because everything across the board. I mean, the worst dramatic manipulated Monarch set is doubled off of its lows from the 70s to a 150, 160s. That's very, very extreme to have that kind of move on even like the weakest set. I didn't think it would happen that quickly. I thought we were in for more of a longer, slower uptick movement. And so to address some basic things I keep getting questions on would be, Rudy, what do you think about buying into the original 3 sets at this point in time? If you are a fan of Flesh and Blood and you believe long term and you actually understand the game and what's going on, yes, the first 3 sets are going to be the big dog. They are the lowest printed. They are the rarest. And no, it's not a year-old. Oh my God, you see the price for a year-old game? 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. Are we really? Wow. 2023 is year 5 now of Flesh and Blood. We're very far past the memes and jokes of nobody plays this and that. It's just too invest. That's kind of, it's such an old meme now. It's kind of lost a lot of its luster at this point in time. But I don't see those original products that have that little supply and that are that rare. I don't see them becoming cheap. The only way you could try to put downward pressure on something like that at this point moving forward, now that we've exited the best opportunity for you all, if you ever want to buy into Flesh and Blood, well, the last 9 months was the ultimate. I would say from July of last year, of 2022, to about October. There's about a 6-month window. I'd say, probably June, July, August, September, October. Yeah, probably about 5-6 month window where the Flesh and Blood prices were insane. Insane. They were insanely low. The amount of people I had even patrons, people like you all just sending me messages from the AlphainvestmentsLLC at Gmail, the old PP pitch and price thing. The amount of people wanting to sell out of Flesh and Blood because they lost confidence was very substantial. And it was a very real thing. Now we have swapped again, and that is the ebbs and flows of the market. I believe this one is probably the most organic compared to the last one because the people who were flipping and didn't believe in the game, who just wanted those quick tendies, are gone. Everybody flipped, everybody dumped. There's not really, after you go through a crash and bear, that's why recoveries usually tend to hold long term, because you flush the system. The weak hands folded. Everybody who was just trying to wait for an uptick or to flip to the next investor, collector, player, they're gone. They did it. Everybody did it. And, now a good transition time would be, that's what happened with Pokemon. We saw it happen with Evolving Skies. We saw it happen with Chilling Reign. We saw it happening with even the weaker sets. The Astral Radiance, Fusion Strike. Recently we saw it happen with Lost Origins in Pokemon and Silver Tempest. What happens is, many times if a product doesn't perform and it sits either upside down, you're losing money, or flat for 6, 12, 18, after a certain amount of time, stores, players, collectors, investors, evil, beautiful 3% ladies, everybody eventually just says, give me the money. We're in a high interest rate environment. I get 4 or 5%. Well, what's Robinhood now in cash? 4.5? I mean, I get 4.4. Sorry. Bob in the back said, 4.4% cash is interest rate now in Robinhood. To give you an idea. Like, people are saying, why should I keep my money in a product that hasn't gone up and it's just sitting flat or going down by a few dollars a month? And, everybody gives up. And then, the other side of the coin, we have the Evolving Skies Pokemon situation, where the box price pops from 100 to maybe 200, and everyone says, oh my god, I can double my money. I'm out. Or many stores, they sell half their product and they make enough profit to cover the remaining inventory and they keep it for free. And you start to remove that product gets pulled, like vacuumed, it gets sucked, giggity, into the market as these prices in the swings of the market. When you have hard upticks, like right now, you're going to see that people who have been sitting on flesh and blood, or gave up on, said, I don't know, whatever, throw it in the closet, Timmy. You're going to see maybe a little bit come to market because people are like, oh my god, I can finally get out. Or it may have already happened. So that has now happened. Once again, you're coming into a market of a perfect storm. You had tremendous anger and negativity from collectors and investors from Magic 30th, over printing, all this negativity. That led to a lot of new players in Flesh and Blood. You had, of course, Money Machine went burn 2021. You had all these things happen. You had all these variables line up. And the result is Flesh and Blood expands again. So that's my whole speech on the Flesh and Blood situation. So, too long, didn't read, for those people out there, which you're supposed to say before, not after. Yes, I believe that Flesh and Blood has bottomed. I believe the market's recovering, and I believe it's the real deal. And anyone into it now is essentially into it because they like it. The short-term flippers and people who didn't care about the game or called it a scam, dude, those people left a year and a half ago in the crash. They're gone. I believe it's the real deal. I don't think it's a bubble. And I believe now, moving forward, with Outsiders being the 9th, is it 9th? Is it really? The 9th Flesh and Blood release. And then with the 10th Flesh and Blood release coming later this year, which is kind of, people call it the sequel to the Monarch, and a lot of the interactions and synergies with Monarch. Now you're pulling that, it's well done. And now I believe, right before I started filming this video, I started hearing about special new golden cold foil cards for people who win prizes in organized play. So that's a pretty cool thing, just for those, if you can even get one. That's a pretty cool thing. So moving on from that, let's go to the next thing. So I ran a Weiss sale yesterday or the day before, whenever you watch this video, for Sword Art Online, 10th anniversary. I got annihilated. It was the strongest, most insane demand of Weiss I have seen since 2021. This is the strongest demand for Weiss that I've seen since probably, I don't know, maybe HoloLive, or a year to year and a half to 2 years ago. It's been a long time since I've seen something like this. I think HoloLive was beginning of 2022. So about a year and a half ago. I only had 800-900 boxes. And I got blown out and oversold by almost 100 boxes. Almost 1,000 boxes sold in 15 minutes. And I was not prepared. Usually that doesn't happen with Weiss. And it really made me step back and go, whoa. Now, obviously, Sword Art Online, SAO, or whatever you want to call it, it is a big IP. It's been around for a long time. It's not a normal, picking up chicks in a dungeon, raising a boring girlfriend, Fate Grand Order. Well, no, Fate Grand Order is a pretty big IP. Fate Grand the movie, you get the idea. So, people now are asking me, a lot of patrons, because this is the first time I'm talking about publicly, because this just happened, are asking me, whoa, Rudy, what's going on with Weiss? Is the Weeb game? Is it the Schwartz Rooney? Is Weeb Schwartz? Whoa, what's changing? And I believe it's a couple things. I've been telling you all for a while that most people who got into Weiss left, because again, similar, this is the same story as Flesh and Blood. The bear market wiped people out. A bunch of people had no business carrying it, didn't believe in it, wanted to flip it in 30 days for quick tendies. They left. Pre-orders went down. Remember, Weiss, you have to pre-order 4 to 6 months in advance. And now, the market's doing better and recovering. And I've told you all before, I've been looking at a lot of Weiss, even the Tokyo Avengers, the Attack on Titan. Like, these prices that were being fire sold, they're still cheap. Don't get me wrong. But the market's thinning, and they are starting to uptick. I'm seeing, I mean, have you seen Jobless Reincarnation? Was it Tatsumi? I forgot the name of it. The Jobless Reincarnation set? Anybody? From $50, $60 a box to $130 as of the film of this video? I mean, we are seeing upticks across the board. And yes, some of the upticks aren't new highs. Some of the Magic Collector boxes aren't hitting new highs, but they are upticking off the lows. Even Magic the Gathering, Boulder's Flippin' Gate, that bottomed at like $109 a collector's box, down like 60% or 70%. Was it Boulder's Gate? I saw pre-orders of $250 to $300. I think I sold mine to patrons for $239, $249, thinking that was a hot shot, and then it just completely collapsed. The worst collapse of the Dragon's Maze of modern era. It went down to like 109. And now I look at TCG Player and I'm like, Dragon's Maze, wait, Boulder's Gate went from 109 back to 150, 160s? And there's only 20 boxes till it goes back to 200? Like, whoa! Like, that's a really fucking fast recovery. Like, we gotta give credit to what's happening here. And I know, I'm just gonna label this video, I'm giving up, everything's going to zero, because that's the only way I'm gonna be able to get anyone to watch this thing. Because everybody only wants to watch negative and when people lose everything or go bankrupt and when bad things happen. Nobody's willing to acknowledge all this good shit and uptick that's happening. And it's like, it's almost irritating because, I bought this and now I'm bankrupt because of Rudy. I have to live in my stepsister's washer. I had to turn into a tiny home. Like, it's just, like, can we give credit to the CCG world? Like, the adjustments and print runs on collector boxes for Magic. So far, every Magic product in 2023 has been really successful. For Papa Hasbro, the Fireside, Dr. Cox grew an inch. Everything's upticked. Like, can we not give credit where credit's due? Even if we don't like that person, even if you hate Rudy, you hate your store down the street, you hate whatever you feel. This is the data. You're still okay to hate, even though hate's kind of a terrible thing. You really should look in the mirror. But I mean, it's okay to dislike things, but when the market and the numbers are the numbers, even if everything's going to zero, the great Rudy, oh wait, is going to be a child's play with the crash that's coming. Sure, and maybe that happens. But I'm not going to live in the fetal position scared of everything and not do anything, waiting for this once-in-a-lifetime crash to either happen tomorrow morning, maybe happening when you watch this video, or maybe it happens in 50 years. I don't know, but life is short, folks. Good things are a positive thing. I can't believe I have to say that on YouTube, man. And I'm sitting here like, look at what's happening with Flesh and Blood. Look what just happened. Look what's happening with Weiss. Okay? Look at the Pokemon market. Rudy? Oh, I know. I already know what you're going to say. Rudy, the Scarlet Violet. The new block. The silver borders. The power level. The synergy. The lore. The theme. The Wafu girls. The new Pokemon's dead. New block, Rudy. New Pokemon's dead. It's not coming back. Yes, folks. The new Pokemon in TCG Player hit a high of 135. And as of the filming of this, it's like 125. And I'm not even adding tax to it. Yes, it's completely collapsed. It's just, I don't know if people are just so used to thriving like a leech on negativity. And now it's like, I need to find something bad. What can I say? It's fucking weird, man. That's the best way to say it. It's just fucking weird, dude. Like, it's not healthy and okay to be obsessed with clicking on and watching bad videos and negative things going wrong. It's just, I don't know what it is with the human condition. So now, let's go to MetaZoo, all right? A good time let's transition to the next CCG. So I've been getting messages like crazy on this MetaZoo Native thing, okay? And I'm getting two types of messages here. A, Rudy MetaZoo's dead. Will you stop backing MetaZoo Mike and the company? Personally, I like MetaZoo. You can hate me for liking something. If that's makes you feel better, you can make bad comments in the video, cuss me out, or you can Rudy death threats and or stop ruining people's families' lives and banking. You can say whatever you want. I like the game. It's no different than the GME thing from 2021, the stock market. I like the stock, I like the game, but you can hate me all you want. You can be angry that I sell these different card games. You can be angry that I sell Magic after Magic 30. You can be angry that I carry MetaZoo. You can be angry that I sell Weiss. You can be angry that twice a year I actually get some Force of Will. I sell Force of Will still. You can be angry that I'm going to try to sell One Piece, Lorcana, and Sorcery later. I'm going to do some tests. You can be angry at all you want. But if I like the product, I'm going to carry it, and then I'm going to sell some to patrons, and I'm going to keep some for myself. That's how it works. If the patrons don't buy it, if I run a MetaZoo sale, and I build 1,200 MetaZoo kits, and I only sell 20, and I get stuck with everything, well, guess what? At that point in time, I'm going to cut it back because clearly nobody wants it, and you all are right. But in the meantime, if I'm keeping positions for myself, and patrons want it and they buy it, I'm going to carry the product. It's pretty basic, the whole circle hole into the square corner side chat with the penis rocket that's elongated. It's not complicated. Now, let's get into this weird conspiracy theory tinfoil hat swirling around. So, this is mostly with patrons. I only had like one message from you all in the public. So, there's a lot of conspiracy theories about this MetaZoo Native situation. Because there's a lot of people starting to question as we approach release date. Remember, just because, if you are a patron, I have not shipped your MetaZoo Native Rudy kit. Because, again, it doesn't come out for another week. So, buckle up, Buttercup. Sit tight, as posted. Your tracking number's not going to update because it's not out yet. I know I have to say that. People are like, Rudy has to say this? Yeah, I do. So there's conspiracy theories believing and wondering, where's all the MetaZoo Native? People are going on TCG Player, and a couple boxes are selling. It's fine. The prices are pretty high for everything, and it's not crashing, and there's very, very little supply. I talked to 5 or 6 other LGSs around the southeast of the United States, and 4 of the 6 are carrying MetaZoo Native, and each one's getting 1 case. Straight up. And by the way, a mega case of MetaZoo is 12 booster boxes, 20 spell books, kind of like that. And I asked him, I said, hey, what do you do with yours? He goes, well, I took pre-orders. I sold half of it just on pre-orders, but there's like nothing on the market. And so these people are asking me, the MetaZoo Native thing, Rudy, did they cut the print run? I said, well, yeah, they did cut the print run. We're nowhere near the overprinting from the UFO wilderness spot with all the card shop live and everything. That's nothing to do with that. That's a whole different thing. The seance and this native situation has nothing to do with what happened with UFO and wilderness, with the overprinting of that during the boom, and of course the card shop live interference. Now, MetaZoo Native also has alternative hidden art cards, apparently. I haven't seen them, with very prominent famous artists. And I've been dying to see these things because apparently they're pretty wild. On top of the serialized cards, and I'm hearing rumors of some sort of redemption cards or some sort of specialty, not the golden tape. I'm hearing some weird shit on this. And I've asked the MetaZoo Mike, and he just gives me some emoji or goofy face or Wolf of Wall Street LOL. And there's some weird, I don't know what's in the product. And once it releases here, we're going to do some box openings. And I'm thinking about even doing a good amount of MetaZoo Native box openings to see if we can hit something. Because I want to see what's going on here. I want to maybe open a case of 12 boxes. Or a couple cases. And maybe we'll do a patron mega case for a couple patrons. And each one does 12 boxes. And we crack a lot to really see what's going on here. Because people are getting suspicious on where the product is. And the only thing I know is after there's no second wave. And there's been speculation that there's waves of MetaZoo Native. And I don't believe that to be true. I don't think there's a wave 2. At least I asked for more, and I can't get more, and I don't believe there's multiple waves. And then people say, well, Rudy, maybe they're just lying. I was like, why would... See, then people say this with Magic, too. Rudy, you think Wizards is purposely not selling to manipulate the market on collector boxes? You think MetaZoo Native's doing that, too? So let me step back for a second. So you're telling me that MetaZoo and Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast are lying and saying they don't have product to sell, so they don't make money and help Hasbro's stock price or help MetaZoo get more cash and capital. You're telling me these companies are going to lie to not make money. I like to follow the money. At the end of the day, if it doesn't make financial sense as far as making money, I don't really believe that's the case. Does that make sense? Now, of course, there's always outliers. Could be some weird shenanigans. That's always possible. But in my opinion, at the end of the day, I like to use the basic finance approach of what would be the most profitable and how do they bring in the most money. And saying that we don't have product and not selling it does not line up with that narrative of making money. Now, doesn't mean they can't say, oh, we found more in the back, And, that's kind of my golden rule. You're always going to have exceptions. And sure, maybe they are dumb enough to do weird things. But anyway, so back to this. When it comes to these supplemental items of the MetaZoo Native, there's almost none out there. I'm not really sure what's going on with it. The speculation right now is simply put that the print run is lower than what's being stated. That's all I know. That is what people are speculating on message boards, on Silk Road, on MySpace with Tom and Bob, and that's what Lumberg told me when I came in on Sunday with my stepsister. Now, if that turns out to be true, well, that's interesting, because now, if the print run of Native is substantially lower, that means the prices of these Native products are severely underpriced, because the market is not pricing that in. Now, if the print run is really high and simply put, it's just pre-sold and most of it, because again, remember, there's a lot of things in flesh and blood with this too. A lot of the products don't come to TCG Player eBay. Many times, a lot of product will just be sold locally because it's not worth the fees and shipping for smaller stores. So if, for example, if 300 small stores each order a case of 12 booster boxes of Native, one master case, and that's all they have, and they pre-sell a couple and they put the rest on their shelf, they're not going to bring those products to TCG Player or eBay. So therefore, a lot of that product will not show through the transactional records of TCG Player. So that is also a thing. When stores order, if 500 or to 1,000 stores just get a tiny bit of MetaZoo because that's all they think they can sell, or they're nervous because of what happened in the past last year in the crash, if they just order a master case of 12 or 24, no, they're not going to put it on TCG Player. They're probably just going to sell it locally and just kind of sell it by the pack or pre-order with a couple customers. So that can also lead to that scenario. So that's where it's at, folks. I don't have a clear answer for you, but based on what I'm seeing, the supply is extremely low. And if this does not change, it's going to literally not be physically possible for a MetaZoo Native dump to occur because there's no product to dump. So we're laying that out there. Now, let's move on to something else here. The overall market and economy of everything happening. And then we're going to cut it off for the day, and we'll move on with our life. Now, the overall situation right now is the world remains turbulent. The general working class and the general biggest chunk of society in the United States is still under a lot of pressure from the cost of living, inflation, food, fuel, overhead, rising costs of everything from cars, car insurance, gas, food, rent, utilities, phone bills, internet bills, cable bills, OnlyFans bills, Rudy fan, and that's a continuing downward pressure on the consumer. Now, everyone keeps saying, "Oh, Rudy, the stock market's going to crash any day," and maybe it does. But again, I remain in a position and I remain in a perspective that we are now in a point in 2023 where the downside risk versus potential upside is very, very attractive. There's always downside risk. We could wake up tomorrow and there could be some crazy nuclear war. We could wake up tomorrow and aliens invade Rudy's basement and OnlyFans gets taken over by Tesla and Elon Musk. Nobody knows what's going to happen. You can't predict the future. We should all have learned that lesson since 2020. But I also believe, based on the overall people wanting to move forward, people wanting to do better, the average person is working hard and trying to push forward and grind out of this slump in this economy. Humans, meat popsicles, want to move forward from this 2020 to 2022 era. And I believe we are doing that on a slow, choppy, volatile path. No, I don't think the bank crisis and the regional bank and the SVB thing is really, it's a big deal. But I know I'm going to get attacked for this, but I don't think it's that big of a systematic deal. Because the government and the Fed are not going to allow that contagion to spread and take down the system into another 08 situation. That's my honest opinion. Is it a bad thing? Is it an issue? Yeah, it is. Do I think the Fed and the government are going to allow everything to go to hell? No, I don't. And that is my basic fundamental outlook. So overall, the CCG world continues to push forward. Next up, coming up here, we have the big launch of March of the Machine. I'm going to be selling March of the Machine set boxes and collector boxes. And at the launch, of course, it takes me usually 30, 45 days to get all the draft boxes at $89 to sell them all at a loss and, make my supporters and patrons happy. Because remember, folks, this video is sponsored by myself and my left nut. And I'm going to be selling the March of the Machine Commander set this time because this is the annual Commander set once a year with the 5 specialty decks. And yeah, a lot of people are excited about it. I get a lot of messages on it. I get a lot of people interested. I mean, I can tell that I think the March of the Machine set's going to do fine. And again, I don't think the market is fully understanding and pricing in the reduced supply of collector boxes of these Magic sets, of March of the Machine, all the way back to Brothers War. And you know what? I'll even do a hot take for my Magic fans out there before I end this video. I think even Dominaria United collector boxes, the worst performing one in the last year, I even think that's kind of underpriced if you can still get them for that 140, 150, 160 range. I think right now it's back to maybe TCG players like 170 plus tax, or maybe 190. It's really not that, it's not that extreme of a disc down or anything. But I mean, I even think that's really not, it's not going to $70, $80, $90. I stand by what I said before. I don't believe we see another extreme Amazon dump. I think Hasbro screwed it up. I think they realized it. I think with distribution and private behind closed doors meetings, it's never going to happen again. Yes, I do think there'll be Magic sales on Hasbro and Amazon, and there'll be some discounts and 10, 20, 30% off, but we're not going to see collector boxes from 200 something down to $70, $80. I don't think we ever see that again. I don't think we see draft booster boxes that were 80, 90, 100, 110 down to $50. I just don't think that ever happens again. That is my honest opinion. And now that we're seeing, things with, Magic cards in a dump and landfills and all this drama that happened, that reinforces my opinion that I just think it's over with. I think all this turbulent stuff, I think things have shifted. And Wizards of the Coast is known for one thing, and this is a positive thing, is when they do screw up and when they go in bad directions, they do change. Now, whether or not that change is worse in a bad direction or actually a better change is an arguable thing. But overall, Wizards always evolves and changes, even if it's into a worse direction. They continuously change. And I'm going to cut this video off here before I say, but I appreciate all the supporters and all the patrons. I know you all been loving the $89 Magic boxes. The MetaZoo Native thing was a huge fun thing. The Flesh and Blood, the cold foil pink visor, the Weiss stuff, the Pokemon. I mean, I know it's been a really great year with everybody and all my supporters and all you all out there. I really appreciate it. And but I want to say one thing. I had a good phone call with a pretty high up person a couple weeks ago, and he said something to me that's been sticking with me, and I want to say at the end of this video. And this guy's, you don't get much higher in the card world and distribution. I mean, dude's at the top. Okay, he's the head guy. And he said to me, Rudy, I know you're negative on Magic 30, everything that's happened, the collector boxes, and he said to me, this is a private call, cell phone to cell phone, not through company or anything. And he said to me, he goes, if you were in charge, if you were on that board with Hasbro Wizards, and you're trying to find the limit of the public and how much they're willing to pay and how much you can print to really maximize your money, wouldn't you have done the same thing? And I said, well, that's a pretty complex question. And he said to me, no, I'm serious, Rudy. He said, if you were in charge and you really want to know how far you could push the consumer, how much you could raise the price and how much you could print before something collapses, there's a point where you're kind of, corporations and boards of directors are curious, how far will it go? Obviously, we learned that Magic 30 and $1,000 for proxy little packs was too far because it didn't work. So everybody knows that, and they know that now. And I said, yeah, I agree with that. But obviously now, they also know how many collector boxes can they maximize before it tips the market over. So essentially, when everything was booming in 2021 and money was flowing, in 2022, and they kept pushing and pushing because they wanted to know how far and how high the print run could be, Is it really bad management to keep pushing the line to see where the actual line in the sand is? And once you discover where the line in the sand is, then they start backpedaling because now they know how far they can go before it falls apart. Is that really bad business? That's what he said to me. And I thought I don't know why I keep replaying. I've been replaying that in my head for like a month now. And I keep thinking about that. And I asked myself, if I was in charge of the Amazon Penis Rocket Hasbro, Bezos thing, and I was running the fireside chat, and I had no pants on, I still have no pants on, would I have done the same thing? And on the surface, I want to say, no way, that's stupid, I wouldn't be that much of a Timmy. But the other side of the coin, when I'm trying to maximize Hasbro stock as a board of director, CEO, leader of a corporation, isn't it in my due diligence, and wouldn't it be important for me to learn where the breaking point is? And now that they've learned, and they're throttling the other way, is that a mistake to learn that? Makes you think, huh? These are the kind of conversations I like to have with you all. These are the kind of conversations that you can't find anywhere in the world on CCGs and collectibles because nobody really wants to put the thought into it. Everybody wants to be a negative Nancy. Everybody wants to just be dramatic and angry at everybody else. And these are important conversations to have. And I tell you all this all the time. One of the reasons I do this channel and these long talks with the public is these videos serve as almost a proof of record. It's almost like a diary. These videos serve as a timeline, an historical documentary of the cardboard world and what I've been through in the markets and what's happening when this video is being filmed. Because this type of conversation, this type of market moves get lost as time moves forward. People don't remember. I can guarantee you all, to prove a point of this, I guarantee you 99.9% of you watching this video right now couldn't tell me why 30 to 40% of all Magic the Gathering LGSs stopped buying Magic or went out of business in 2017, 2018. I bet most people don't even know the answer to that. They don't even remember. They don't even remember what happened. They don't remember what set caused it. They don't remember what Wizards did. They don't remember what the market was doing. They don't remember why the reserve list buyout started. Oh, well, it's because of Rudy. See, you're going to get the very short, Timmy, non-educated, low IQ kind of the re-answer. But it's important for these videos to exist long term so that in 5, 10, 20 years from now, when I'm not on YouTube or I'm living on Mars and, with Bezos or some penis rocket, it's important for the world to understand what actually happened, how we got here. And it's a good video today. I think I'm kind of off there. That MetaZoo Native thing is weird, though. If that print run really is that low, or if it's lower than we think, because the data is showing that this product could be like, it almost reminds me like a Pokemon era, in Pokemon the 2000s, when everybody thought Pokemon was dead, and they cut the print run down to nothing. And then a year or two later, now you can't find any boxes from that. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that? Holy hell. Could you imagine if the MetaZoo Native thing, they crushed the print run next to nothing? Nobody knew. Can you imagine? And nobody bought it and nobody knew because everyone just assumed it's going to zero. That'd be beautiful.